The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Yes, here we go. It is the SPFL Predictor League show, bashing the bookies, which we've not done yet, and we probably never will. But we are here to talk about the Bhoycie Bus Predictor League and how well or how poorly in some cases, Phil McGinley, everyone is doing in the league table. We're going to be going through the upcoming fixtures. I've got a couple of long odds on my bookies account. I'll be telling you all about my predictions for the weekend, what we envisage most importantly happening for Celtic, but we're going to cast our eye at the other fixtures in the league as well tonight, Phil. We might even talk about the national team, because that's been 3 games, 3 unbeaten, promotion, 7 points from 3. Fair fucking dues. I've got a new viewers came in, Phil, and we're going to obviously extend the usual Bhoycie Bus welcome to them. So, yes, this Celt 67 comes in. They told us they told us that earlier in the comment it was the first they were new and all that, and you know, I think that was a way of saying don't bite, don't worry, we don't bite. But now they're saying, holy shit, this intro is amazing. What the fuck? We know. The intro's the best thing about the whole show. Sean the Mac extend you a big welcome as well, and that is what it's all about. The Bhoycie Bus keeps rolling, Phil. It's September, we're nearly at the end. We are on course for 50,000 fucking views this month, despite the fact there's been 3 Scotland games. That will be a record. It was a record at the start. The most individually watched show we had was obviously after the pasting of our rivals, over 7,000 views that managed to get as well. Are you there, Phil? Am I breaking up? Are you breaking up? Am I talking to myself?
No.
I don't know if Phil is frozen or no.
No, I'm still here, mate. I can...
What's happening, son?
I'm still on the screen, mate, and I can hear you.
Is it me?
Right? Yeah.
All right, well, you were froze then. Who knows?
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't know if it was me or not.
Mate, you were talking away, and I was just listening away, and I could see you moving. Everything was fine, and nothing was wrong on my screen. So I was just like, yeah, just, you know, Bhoycie just doing the good opening monologue, and I was just letting you go.
Maybe it was at my end, mate. You know what it's like. You know what it's like. Right, listen, the bus always hits the odd road bump. Anyway, big shout out to Hoops Raffles. Not heard from the young man in a wee while, but they're doing loads of good stuff on Twitter. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, because we are on 5-6 nights a week these days, and obviously we're hoping for, you know, to get to that magical 7 nights a week one day. I'm hoping that we will. You never know. Ryan Taylor said the two of you are live but not together. I have no idea what's happening. Phil's froze at my end again, so I've got no idea if it's just a problem at my end or not. I don't know why that keeps happening. Also, if you want to become a Bhoycie Bus member, we offer a similar service to the likes of like a patron, like $1.99 a month. It is completely optional. All our content is free. I've not said all that good stuff yet, Phil. I should have left that to you.
All that good stuff. That's the bloody messaging up above us. Just make sure you do all that because it helps the algorithm of the channel massively.
Yeah, man.
That's why it's all that good stuff.
Aye. No, that's all good to me. I like it, mate. I like it. And there's loads of folk on the bus already. Everyone's now beginning to miss that Celtic fix, Phil, aren't they?
Almost there, though, mate. You can taste it. You just see the distance now. Last international break. Well, World Cup's coming up. The World Cup's a bit different from like a random qualifier. The World Cup obviously makes it. He's disconnected and left me on my own. So I have no idea if I'm frozen again on the chat. Somebody will probably verify it for me. But as I was saying, obviously the international break there has it's now over. As far as I know, it's the last Scotland one anyway, because we ain't going to the World Cup. Surprise. So obviously we got that coming up as well. And then I don't think the next round of any sort of qualifiers is until well into 2023. Maybe it's usually about springtime we've got some, but whether we do, I don't know. Any Bhoycie's coming back in the now. Russell, any luck?
I can see you, mate. You're not freezing right now, so hopefully
that's good.
Getting there we go. That's right. Let's hopefully because you started talking to me, mate, and then you just froze, and I'm like,
the thing is, you're not freezing on my screen at all. I can hear you perfectly. My screen, I'm always constantly moving, and it's like, what's going on? So I don't know. Mate. The Gremlins are out to get us tonight, I think.
Maybe, mate. Maybe. Oh, Gremlins, man. Oh, I tell you what, you'll be on his Christmas card list at this rate, mate. That's his part, is it no? First I heard you got to be mentioning the live chat today as well.
I might very well have. My brain's just about recovered. If people in our live chat, if you know, you know. But I did get a mention out of everybody else.
Mention for the wee fella, mate. I tell you what, that is unbelievable.
Where's my Hollywood Star Walk of Fame going down, mate?
I tell you what, it's cheap on 29 quid VIP meeting, mate. Dear, I know. Oh dear, indeed. But Celtic are back, and we've got a favourable fixture, mate, to come back from a defeat, as far as I'm concerned. The Motherwell, we will be taking a deeper plunge into all the ins and outs about that fixture, preferred lineups, and all that generic pish tomorrow night on the TNF. But let's be honest. I mean, if there was a staple fixture that you'd be looking for in the SPFL calendar to follow an international break after 3 games, as well as that, the fact we went into that international break on the back of a very disappointing, deflating result and drop of points, I think Motherwell at home, 9th place Motherwell, kind of ticks the boxes. Phil, would you say?
I would say so as well. And if you're also going to pick an opponent for our closest rivals as well to be going to, I think it's the stars are aligned pretty well. There's like 2 grounds you would like to send them to as well. Would be Pittodrie and Tynecastle. So they're going to Tynecastle, and we've got a home game against the team that's in the bottom of the league. So it's sort of perfectly set up. So hopefully we don't fumble the ball here. But yeah, it's ideal. The players will be ready to go, I feel, and I think, Angel learned from that one quite. I think he'll take it on board very well, how that went wrong. And I don't see him messing about too much again with the team this time. If it's a case of everyone's available or as many are available as possible, there'll be no more, I'll just give him a game because, he needs a wee game here and there. World Cup's coming up and stuff like that. Needs a bit of fitness in his legs. Don't know that,
I think I'm all Aaron Moyed out in my take on it. And I think trying to change my mind on it now is going to be a futile exercise. Let's just let that one play out. And, at the end of the day, I'm 1-0 down because I wasn't convinced this time last year of Postecoglou, and I'm not this year convinced of Aaron Moy. However, I think it'll be 1-1 come next summer, mate, and I don't think he'll be a Celtic player next season. I'm pretty confident of that. We can't afford to take any chances. Let's be honest, going into the game. I think the lesson will be well and truly learned. I think it's full steam ahead. I agree with what Mark was saying on Thursday. I didn't agree with all Mark's points, but that's the beauty of debate. But I certainly agreed with him that I think it's got to get back to first team, first choice picks. That's it. It's all we've got to do at the weekend. We've got to take the game just as seriously as Mark also said about as Real Madrid, and I totally align with that take. To be honest with you, it's very important that we bounce back from the defeat, and I also think just get a fucking professional job done. But Phil, that leads us into talking about other games already, because of course, when we look at the upcoming fixtures, am I right in thinking Hearts Rangers is 12:30?
Is the early kickoff indeed? Yep, on Saturday.
So
It is starting the weekend off.
We could be going into it with a wee bit of a spring in our step. Let's go to Tynecastle. Let's talk about the Tynecastle game, because I think it is, at the end of the day, it was a shot in the arm for our rivals. What happened, at St Mirren's, I don't know what it's called, Technology Stadium, because at the end of the day, it was an unexpected drop of points from Celtic, and it was on the back of yet another disappointing result. Performance from them, albeit they got the 3 points. I think it was in unison. If you listen to their phone ins, and when I spoke to any of my Rangers supporting mates, they were absolutely, furious basically about the display. They were disappointed in it, and they don't think that the form slump that they seem to be on has been arrested as of yet. However, what actually happened is we go into an international break, Phil, and this is quite an interesting side to it. We were disappointed because we want to get back on the saddle, back to winning ways. Totally get that, right? However, I think the shot in the arm that Rangers would have got from our result would have enhanced their chances going into their next fixture, whether it be Tynecastle or not. If it was a couple of days, they'd have had said spring in their step.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of been diluted now, such has been the break, and they've got to focus on their form. Hearts away is a fucking nightmare for them. Not the fixture they wanted to come back to. I think it will. Blue Baron's in. Good evening to you, pal. He says he thinks it will be a close one. I think it will be a close one. I've swayed, and Phil, I don't just pick each week a Rangers defeat or any of that nonsense in my predictor league. I don't. You know what I mean?
Well, somebody on the bus that does. I'm fair play to him, but
a couple of them do, I think. But I said I think it will be a 2-1 Hearts win. 12:30 kickoff. It is going to be a tricky one, and of course, what happens in that game can also, as much as we want to just focus on ourselves, it can set a tone for what comes that afternoon, because whether people like it or not, 60,000 fans going into a stadium, mate, full of beans on the back of them dropping points can influence the result slightly. It influences the mood, the atmosphere, and set the tone. So I think it's a real banana skin for them, and maybe with giving Hearts a wee bit more credit in that. It's a tricky game anyway. How do you see that one going at Tynecastle? As I say, I'm going to go 2-1 for the home team.
2-1 that one. Well, in terms of, I know a lot of people, and I've seen it in the chat already, a lot of people just dismissing, Hearts are pish and Hearts lie down them. But in recent years, there has been some struggles at Tynecastle for both Celtic and Rangers. But I remember the season that got shut down in March because of the coronavirus pandemic breaking out, and Rangers were off the back of 2 defeats to Hearts, not just before before it shut down. They were knocked out the Scottish Cup, and they got beaten a league game there, and Hearts were bottom of the league that season and ended up getting relegated anyway. So that even when Hearts were pitched that season, they still were able to get results against them. There's just some teams that can, even in their worst day, still a wee bit of a bogey team, but Hearts do seem to, they seem up for it against both sides of the Glasgow divide. But yeah, there's this, I see a few people in the chat are like, Hearts will just lay down and that. But no, I think they'll have the point to prove. They've got a big European game coming up as well. Because what shocked me was they obviously beat the team from Latvia. We were on the TNF doing the show and when that result came in. But then I saw the Europa League table, and Fiorentina are at the bottom of that wee division with 1 point after 2 games. And it's like, the Serie A team you'd expect. So Hearts are actually ahead of them going into this. So they've got a double header with Fiorentina. So they're going to want to be going in on good form with that one.
Totally, mate. Playing for places as well.
Huge opportunity. Definitely playing for places. I mean, this is the big one, the big fixture. When all those Hearts players saw that group get drawn, that's probably the one they thought, that's the box office game. You want to be playing in that. As a player, you want to be in that team. So what a chance to stake a claim to Robbie Nielsen if he put in a good performance here at the weekend. So I think Hearts will be up for that night game, a tough game. Whether they actually come with the win, again, it's...
Phil, this is what it's called. It's the Predictor League, big boy. Get your neck on the chopping block, my man.
I think Rangers will find a way by hook or by crook, and you know what I mean by that. They'll find a way, some way, somehow. But I think Hearts will give them a game, and it won't be like, you know, Rangers will just go there and win like 5-0 or something like that. You know, to say some people are saying, "Oh, Hearts always lay down for them." I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll have to work pretty hard. With an energy sapping performance, put it that way, ahead of European midfield.
An away win.
I'll say an away win. I haven't quite thought out my score yet. I'll just go for a away win at the moment.
So Doogie comes in. Doogie Majesty is a good pal of mine, Phil. There's a bit of background to this 10-5 patter. So I'm away on Sunday to Glasgow. Me and Doogie, this is my sparring partner on the pool table, Phil. We take it right seriously. This is us all day. We'll be there, and it's 1st to 10. Don't ask Terry Robb about when he played me at pool, but Doogie's my sparring partner at the old pool. He's never beat me yet. Even though he's got, you know, the Mark Selby technique, he just can't find a way. So I've told him I'm going to beat him 10-5. For every frame he wins, I'm going to win 2. And that's why he's coming in with his 10-5 cheek. He's actually a Rangers fan, so his mood could be absolutely, you know, it could be on the floor, mate, by the time, you know, I might have beat him before we even strike a cue ball, mate, because, you know, if my predictions go to plan, then he will be in trouble. Ian Barron, the regular Darlington fan, has joined us as well, mate. Hope you are doing good, mate. And you're up to 2nd place. Well, there is no such thing as 2nd place when you're a Celtic fan, Ian, but brilliant to have you on the bus.
Another thing you just to get in consideration as well, Bhoycie, you're saying if Rangers were to drop points, obviously we go into the 3 o'clock kickoff, 60,000 people. You know, they're going to spring in their step. What the fans need to also remember is a wee bit of patience, because I think back to that Dundee United game, the one where they dropped points to Ross County early in the day, in the Dundee United one, and it obviously took us to the 90th minute, and, you know, fans were getting that tetchy way during the game, like every misplaced pass as the game was going on, it's still 0-0. If Murrow coming on a bit stodgy, you know, fans just need to be calm. All it's going to take is one goal. We have to wait to the 90th minute to get it. It's no ideal, but, you know, you don't want the fans to get on top of them, because, that can sometimes happen as well. But I think back to that game earlier in the year, the Ross County result for Rangers, and then we were playing Dundee United. It was quite a tetchy one that day, waiting on that goal. Yeah,
that gave us an iconic title moment, though, as well. I think a huge chapter in that title winning success, and it'll be reflected on, you know, when we're doing nostalgia in 10 years' time, Phil, and, you know, we'll be in a big fancy studio at that point, and all that shout, obviously. But that'll be that. I think the Abadigo will, you know, controlling it on his thigh like that, spanking it in the top bins. You know, the guy was only 20 years old. The confidence to do that, the absolute composure to do that. And, you know, of course, it was that was a huge moment in the league title race. And yeah, you're right. I mean, there is a good chance that we go into the game on Saturday on the back of, I think, drop points from them. And we will need to have that patience as well. Yeah, absolutely right. We do need to have that patience. But what I do think as well is Celtic, when they've had bad results under Ange, right? Other than that, we group, you know, that cluster of fucking, you know, that cluster fuck of fixtures, let's be honest, at the start of the season. I do think we've reacted very well, you know, over the piece. I think we'll react well to what happened. I think Ange will be the one who's had 2 weeks to really dwell on this. He's not been away on international duty, unless you count his homecoming tour prelogue, what's that word I'm looking for? Something like that, anyway.
I get what you mean.
I think he'll be very much going, whoa, let's get this fucking, you know, that doesn't happen again. It's now time to get back to business. I think we'll see that reflected in the lineup Celtic pick. I think we'll see it reflected in the intensity of the performance and the final score line. I do see us extending our lead at the top. You quite confident Celtic get the job done at 3 o'clock, Phil? I know you'll be there. Monty's still pulling me up for using the word compelling. I think there is a compelling argument that Ange does, you know, tend to react very well in the face of adversity, Monty. Just you stick to picking on Mark. You know, used to can have your ding dongs.
Well, while you're singling out Monty in the chat, one of our resident Rangers regulars, the Blue Baron, is compelled, shall we say, as to who's the older out of the two of us. I'm 37 years old and Russell's 34. Yeah. And yes, I am naturally grey. I'm going grey, and I've been going grey for a long time. And I'm not really that fussed about dyeing my hair blue, Baron. He's obviously asking, is Phil naturally grey? Yes, got a lot of grey hair is coming in, but I don't really mind that much. So, yeah, just leave it be. And I think Russell's also frozen as well. There you go. No, he's moving again. But yeah, I just saw that comment there. Blue Baron was going to say, who's older at the two? Yeah, I'm 37 years old. But yeah, I have got grey hair as well. I've been getting ribbed about it by my mates since I was 16 years old. I've been having bits of grey hair coming through. So yeah, but I just leave it be. I'm not that bothered about it anyway. You know, I don't get receding hairline, so that's all that matters. Yeah.
No. Aye, that's what I'm covering up, man. Aye, I'm going to see the old David Logue on Friday.
Oh, okay.
He will be. Aye, he's going to get the old fucking lawnmower out to this terrible hairdo. It'll probably look pretty similar to what it does right now, just a shorter version. Because I'm still not giving up, man. I'm not fucking giving up on how the hair should be. But aye, I'm 27, Phil's 37. If any of those wanted to know. What are you laughing at?
Aye. Because funny enough, when I said the U34, you froze conveniently at that point. So yeah,
I froze, and it wasn't my Wi-Fi. I just froze because I couldn't believe the cheek.
Oh, the cheek of it.
I was actually I froze. The Blue Baron is giving you love heart eyes though, so I've been very concerned now, Phil. He's saying you look good. You look good for 37, Phil. Love heart eyes. I don't know what's going on there, lads.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Are you envisaging though a confident Celtic win? Yes.
Yeah, I think so. But we'll go into a deeper dive on the Celtic game at the end. We'll wrap up the other ones and then we'll give a sort of how we think we'll line up and all that. That's
a bit of structure there for McGinley. I like that. I like that, Phil. I like
but
that.
We should probably go alphabetically because the first game, as I know, is something you love talking about whenever we do this series. Aberdeen are playing Kilmarnock. Derek McInnes' storyline is there, returning to Pittodrie against your favourite manager outside Ange, Jim Goodwin, mate. You have to love about Jim Goodwin. But it's been kind of a bit ropey recently for Jim. He's Aberdeen have they started okay and it's been a bit iffy recently. But yeah, Derek McInnes returning to Pittodrie with Kilmarnock. Interesting storyline there. But Kelly have been a bit dodgy all season. They've not really came to life at all. Not that we would have expected much for Kilmarnock, let's be honest.
No.
But, do you see the storyline right now that McInnes will go back there and put Goodwin in his place, or do you think Aberdeen will bounce back after some recent sort of mediocre results?
I think Kilmarnock will kill Lafferty place. He's still there, isn't he? I mean, he's obviously been recently calling people, every Rangers fan's favourite word. In a derogatory term as usual. I think there's just a bit of a soap opera. But for me, I think Kilmarnock go there, they don't score. There is the added spice that is Derek McInnes' return. I don't think that's going to impact on Kilmarnock's as a team. I think it might impact on the atmosphere at the ground, though, and Aberdeen just having that wee extra mojo. Jim Goodwin obviously trying to create his own dynasty there, Phil, as well. I went 3-0 for my apparent second favourite manager's team.
I just go back to fact, you always give him a lot of praise on this show.
I do like him. I do like Jim Goodwin. You're right, it's a good observation, mate. You're spot on. I think 3-0 for Aberdeen, a convincing win. Kilmarnock aren't going to bring much to the party this season, or really many other seasons either, to be completely honest with you. I think Aberdeen will get back to winning ways. Charles Smith's in agreement. He thinks it's Aberdeen easy. I've went one goal more though. 3-0 for me. I think Aberdeen win that one. Very convincing. You can't see that going any other way but a home win, Phil, surely.
Yeah, I would lean towards Aberdeen in this one. I think they'll swat aside Kilmarnock. I think Kelly's best weapon is going to be home games with a plastic pitch might come to their benefit, but even at that, we've already scalped them 5-0 on the plastic pitch, so even if that is home games even going to be a benefit for them, doubt it. But no, I can't see them travelling too well up to Aberdeen, and I would fancy a home victory there as well, my man.
Yep. Convincing Aberdeen home win. And do you know what? It's about time they kind of get back in the mix this season. I think they've made a bit of investment. They obviously brought in a few, they brought in a few coins as well. Obviously, the Lewis Ferguson, I don't think he even gets a look in at Bologna. I think he's made one appearance so far for Bologna. So he's not quite having the Aaron Hickey effect as of yet. Who knows? I thought Aaron Hickey, by the way, was very, very impressive. In his Scotland appearances that I've seen, particularly the most recent one last night. You think he looks like one that we're going to be talking about got away in the end again as well, Phil. Add it to the list. Sound that Aaron Hickey, John McGinn, fucking Andy Robertson, Claxon all at once. But
yes, indeed.
But it just shows, the fact Lewis Ferguson's went there and he's been unable to get game time. Maybe that reaffirms, just how successful Aaron Hickey actually was over there to be a regular and getting more minutes. I think it was in the top 5 leagues than any other under 21 other than Mbappe, something like that last season. So, I think, we've got to show respect to that. But yeah, when it comes to Jim Goodwin, I think he's been given a wee bit of freedom to sort of get rid of who he didn't want, i.e. Scott Brown mid-season, before the season had even ended. He wanted him off the books. Obviously, that was a bit of a I'm in charge sort of message.
But a ballsy move, really. Big personality, Scott Brown, as we know.
Though.
Just to go in there and just be like, no, you're no needed.
I respect
I'm in charge now.
I respect it. Obviously, we don't want anything, we don't want to see Bruni getting a what a legend, man. But I think we've got to be honest and say as well that I admire anyone who's got the balls to go to the largest character in Scottish football. Thanks, but no thanks, mate. And that comes to on and off the field. I think that's to be admired, to be honest with you. He's definitely been given a bit of clout in the transfer window. He's been allowed to get his guys in. He's brought in. He's recruited on paper very well. The scorer. How do you pronounce the scorer? The top scorer's first name. What is it?
Oh right, okay. Hold on. He's Sorry,
I'm
Aberdeen.
going to try and see if we
I'll
can
take it to VAR. Take it to VAR. Hold on. Let's
Aberdeen
see. I know who you're
scorer.
talking about.
What if? Not ever. I mean,
so this will be the Macedonian striker.
Mayovsky. There's Mayovsky, isn't it? And everyone thinks it's Mayovsky.
Bojan. So I mean, we know how to pronounce that because remember Bojan, the Spanish one, was linked to us forever. Bojan
Krkic.
Yes, ended up at
yeah. Fuck. Yeah, I mean, he would have done well. Let's be honest, at Celtic, he would have.
Oh God, aye. I think that became a meme though, with Paul the Tim constantly pushing that. Oh, Bojan's definitely on his way, and it just never ever happened. One of those ones. I can remember that like being a quite early meme in Celtic Twitter years ago about Bojan, but it never ever came to anything. But I'm sure it was Paul the Tim that started that one.
Fucking Jesus Christ. What a source of reliability, guys. Fucking hell. Everyone's saying they're Offski. I don't know if they're talking about Mayovsky or they're actually away.
Mayovsky's Offski. I see it.
Mayovsky is Offski. Lanky 67. Great to have you on the bus, mate. But I think Jim Goodwin is going to get it right over the piece, and okay. When we look at the old form guide, I've even got the form guide up the night for that organised, man. Aberdeen, you're right. 3 wins from the last 6. Didn't they only lost 2 out the last 6. It's a wee bit checkered. 10 points on the old form guide from the last 6 matches. I don't think it's bad. I think they're going on with this. I don't know what's happening with my Wi-Fi tonight, man. I've tried the mobile one. I'm trying the broadband one. It's just been one of those nights, mate. But I think Aberdeen get a convincing win, mate. A convincing win.
Yeah, I would think so too. And of course, the next one, though, is a good old-fashioned relegation 6-pointer, even at this stage in the season, if we're going alphabetically. Dundee United are at home to St Johnstone. I think many of us are surprised at how the seasons went for Dundee United so far, given what they achieved last season. But we spoke about it the last time we did this series, where we mentioned maybe the warning signs were there, and we didn't pick up on it when Tam Courts, after getting it to 4th place, having a crack at European football, bails out. And you said he went to the Polish league. I mean, what the hell? It was Poland or Belgium? It was one of those leagues. I think it was Poland you'd said he'd went to. But that's a bit of a surprise when you think what they'd achieved. You thought, surely he wants a go at it with Dundee United. But obviously not. And then Jack Ross, everyone's favourite manager, future Celtic manager, according to some people out there. Jack Ross came in. Obviously, it did not quite go according to plan. To put it lightly, that's just putting it, being subtle about it. It didn't quite go how he wanted it to.
Fucking should write a poem about Jack Ross, honestly. Fuck me, man. That's the worst take ever.
And since I believe they've appointed Liam Fox now as the full-time coach at Dundee United, head coach, manager, whatever position it is. But they need to get back to winning ways. And if they had to pick somebody else in the league to go up against at home as well, surely St Johnstone would be the ones that they would fancy getting that win finally, because I believe Dundee haven't won a game yet.
Big time. I agree with you. However, they've now got the boss confirmed on a permanent basis. So I think that means there must be a buy-in from the playing squad because, again, I mean, Dundee United, you look at that game when they played AZ, you look at that goal in particular, full stadium, you know what I mean? You're going, Tannadice full. I know it's not, you're not talking about 100,000, it's not the Bernabeu, but even still, you never see Tannadice fill that often. We were talking about the TV deal the other night and how chairman must just look at empty seats and when they get a 20% uplift in their TV revenue, they've already signed that, you know, before they've had a chance to even contemplate what the alternatives would be, and you almost can't blame them when you look at how half-filled the grounds are. I definitely think that they looked, you know, with that performance, the style of that win. Obviously, it was only the first leg, but you know how many fans were invested because Dundee United were back in Europe. Obviously, got a wee bit of yesteryear's European pedigree. There's a bit of romance involved. You think Jack Ross, was he doing all that bad at Hibs? I'm not sure. He's always carries a bit of clout though anyway. The myth of Jack Ross will always live on. You know, you'll be managing fucking Real Madrid before Mourinho gets back there, honestly. You know, just ask the poet. But what I will say is, you know, when you look at Dundee United's form, it has to arrest at some point. Yes, and St Johnstone might think they were going to go there and that's who they want to play. I think Dundee United would be quite relaxed about playing the Sainties at home. I think that is a stick on for an absolute dug meat game of football, Phil.
Yes.
I think they'll have Sky going back to their those in charge of the money and going, what the fuck did we invest another 20% of revenue in this for? Let's renege on that deal. Is there a cooling off period like there is with our broadband? Because this is fucking insane. I think it'll be a dross 1-0 Dundee United win. Phil, I think they're at the bottom of the form guide, Dundee United, but they will get the 3 points and celebrate, you know, confirming another cheap option in charge at a football club by promoting from within on the basis of fuck all. I don't know how that inspires, you know, fans to you know, the aren't season ticket holders to come along this Saturday and go, oh, I can't wait to see what the revolution's like. Did he get a win in interim charge? No. I just don't get that. I don't get that at all. I think, you know, there's got to be a wee bit more imagination and ambition. I'm sure these guys, you know, think they know what they're doing more than me, but I don't know. I think it would be it's a very unimaginative appointment that reeks of financial prudence as opposed to, you know, speculating to accumulate there. But with all that said, I do still think they'll get the 3 points because at some point they need to get a win again. They'd started the season brightly. There's a lot of good players in their playing squad as well. Hell of a lot of experience between Fletcher, Mulgrew, Tony Watt. I mean, and I love the player we were talking about at the start of the season in midfield as well. Dylan Levitt, ex-Manchester United. He was a bit of a coup to get permanently. Come on. I think Dundee United have got enough good players there. Whether the managers of that, you know, charismatic level yet, time will tell. And, you know, it wouldn't be the first time I did it with egg in my face with regards to a manager. However, I think Dundee United will have a very mediocre season. It'll be a mediocre display, and that'll be all that is required to beat St Johnstone, and it'll be 1-0 then.
I'm leaning towards a quite turgid Dundee United win as well. I agree with you. It's going to be a bit of a shabby game. Dundee United would just want to get a win on the board by any means necessary. So I can imagine them just scraping by there. But of course, then attention's going to have to turn to eventually Callum Davidson. He can't be lasting much longer at St Johnstone. After the 2 cup wins, you thought, I mean, it's not going to get any better for him at St Johnstone after that. Obviously, he stayed on for to have a go in Europe, and then last season, you know, they stayed up obviously, but it looked like the spark was definitely gone. But you felt, well, he's probably immune now at St Johnstone. He should be probably getting a statue outside McDermott Park for what he's done. But realistically, if they keep going the way they are, eventually I think the chairman at St Johnstone is going to have to pull the trigger on it eventually, make a decision. But then again, they'll probably appoint somebody within again because Scottish football, no adventure. So I think United will get that win. But yeah, attention I think is going to be turning to St Johnstone and Callum Davidson soon. He could be the next.
I think they'll Phil. We need to look at this in a couple of ways here, because we can't have our cake and eat it all the time. From a Celtic point of view, I actually think there is a, let's say, compelling argument, but a strong argument to suggest that the COVID season, you know, a full season with no supporters, leads to, I think, differences in performance levels. I think difference in pressure levels, and I do think, whilst I wouldn't asterisk it as such, I think you know the team across the city have enough of those to fucking be juggling right now. When they look back at their, you know, post 2000 fucking whatever entity there, I think there's asterisks left, right, and centre. To be completely honest with you, with them, I wouldn't say a COVID season is an asterisk season. I certainly though would caveat that with, I don't know. I don't think Dundee United. I don't think St Johnstone win those 2 titles, Phil.
Aye.
Those 2 trophies.
Yeah.
I don't think they win those in normal fan season. I know that sounds harsh as fuck, but I've got to be. I think, you know, a lot of our support base don't feel Rangers win the league as comfortably. I think we all probably accept they win the tournament. I'm saying they're now won a tournament. They won the title. St Johnstone won 2 tournaments, 2 trophies. But I do think that Rangers don't win it by the points magnitude that they did. I don't think they play with that same swag. I certainly don't think they go a season unbeaten with no fans. That is the honest truth. I don't, and I know that's really sour grapes on my part. I'm just being honest. I don't see that group, that nucleus of that Rangers team. We know more about over 4 or 5 years now. You know, a lot of them have been there during that whole time, and from. Yeah, I think that season, I've got to say, was one that goes against their grain as opposed to for it. Does that mean they don't win the league that year, considering the implosion Celtic had? I think that maybe would be unfair. But fuck me, St Johnstone winning those 2 trophies. If we're being consistent, if we don't think Rangers could go a league campaign unbeaten with no fans, I think we have to be honest. St Johnstone winning 2 trophies that season, does that happen if there's fans? Well, I don't think so. And how long can he hang on that?
Exactly. I mean, the thing is as well, you're right about no fans and the effect it has on the game. I mean, obviously for us, our point of view that season, it was obviously dreadful to watch Celtic just in general. But I thought, right, okay, if Celtic are playing bad, at least I can watch other football like the English Premier League or something. No intensity. I felt every game that I watched, whether it was England, Spain, Italy, no matter what league, I just feel like it felt like a training game. Every single game with that piped in crowd noise through the television as well. And it was just like, I can't enjoy any of this. And I went pretty much an entire year just not really paying that much attention to football. So it was bad enough that my team were terrible and they imploded, and that is what it is. But I thought, well, I could get some comfort by watching some other kind of folks. I love the sport. But I've tried to watch like English Premier League games, Match of the Day and stuff, and I'm just like, I can't get into this at all. The players are just playing at such a pedestrian pace. There's no intensity. There's nothing. So to me, it was just like horrible. And your point, I probably did benefit St Johnstone because some teams definitely over the continent. In fact, there was a few weird outcomes in different leagues. I think Lille won the French league over PSG and stuff like that. So there was some strange ones out there. Some teams maybe just benefited from it better than others.
It was a strange time. We have to be, you know, honest. I think the beauty of Celtic fans sometimes, Phil, if I'm honest, is the honest truth is we do look within first. I think we always are. We're always pretty good that way of, and I don't mean turning on ourselves. You know, I'm being complete. Maybe there is an element of that, but what I would say undeniably is Celtic fans definitely take the blinkers off pretty quick when the shit's hitting the fan, and we look inwards and go, "What's going on here?" And we're good that way. So I think we've definitely had our period of that. I now also think, you know, another league title now in the bank. We can now look at that era, you know, not with subsidiary eyes, because that would be fucking ridiculous. We're Celtic daft and we are completely biased from our, you know, our lens is a biased lens. We don't deny that. We wear that, you know, pretty proudly. But I also think there is more perspective now on that season, Phil. And I think St Johnstone's 2 titles, which is what we're talking about, their 2 trophies. I think it's giving him credit in the bank unfairly. Do I think he wins those 2 trophies if that was a season with fans? No, I don't. So I think that also then, in turn, masks up, you know, or masks over some sort of shortcomings they may or may not have had in our normal season. Therefore, I think the egg timer has been turned now. The sand is coming down. St Johnstone are a poor team under Callum Davidson now. They got away with he got his season of grace, let's be honest. And he was allowed to ride that out. This year it'll be a shorter fuse, albeit provided they've got the funds and the means to be able to get rid of him. Ironically, those 2 trophies and whatever rewards came with that may well have allowed the chairman enough rope to be able to tie that noose on Callum McGregor with those said funds and maybe get a sexier name in. Although knowing the SPFL and looking at that Dundee United appointment, fuck knows it'll be that fucking Murray Davidson.
Do you know what I was about to say? That one has been there forever. Murray Davidson. There's a few players around the league that have just been the Murray Davidson, St Johnstone. I know Andy Considine's now left Aberdeen, but Paul Hanlon at Hibs, Lou Stevenson at Hibs, guys have just been at the same club for about a decade, man. And Murray Davidson is one of them. Oh my God, he'll end up player manager.
That's funny you were thinking that, and that is funny.
Exact same guy. Yeah,
I think Blue Baron can debate itself whether the league or the 2 cups are more important that year. I mean, whatever. I just think that season, I think as time goes on, and I do think whether, of course he's not going to want to see that. I think his club right now is going through a real downsizing period on the part, Phil. Not to talk about Rangers all the time, but to talk about them when it's fun to talk about them. I think undeniably they're downsizing their first team in front of your eyes, despite all the rewards they should be reaping right now in terms of revenue from a Europa League. Incredible journey to the final, to be honest with you, because that was against the odds. Fair fucks to them for doing that. But also then to get the Champions League riches, again, navigating an assault course of such, that the Celtic failed to navigate several times, and I've been very critical of. But that comes at, it comes with serious Wonga coming in the doors. Despite them trying to downplay it now and, try and cast their fans' minds back to stadiums falling apart. Well, we told you that at the fucking time. Everyone was in denial. Now suddenly that actually did cost a lot of money and the stadium nearly was shut down. Apparently now the Champions League doesn't actually bring you that much unless you make the latter stages, which is, again, very strange because I think as part of their journey, all roads led to the Champions League was what the mantra had been. So I find that one tough to palate. I also think the sales of first team regulars, Aribo, Bassi, these guys need to be replaced by similar quality. When you're bringing in tournament prize money, like Rangers have in the last 6 months, and you're bringing in transfer sales like Patterson, Aribo, and Bassi, could be more. Apparently, if you read the papers or you read the online version or you read the Scottish gossip column, let's be honest, on BBC, and that kind of covers it. That was it. Apparently, I seen that Kamara could be the next one. You then combine that with the fact that they're 2 of their stalwarts through this 5 years, if you want to call them that, 2 trophies. In the last 5 years, Morelos and Kent still not signed new deals. I think you're seeing serious downsizing there right now, Phil. I think you are, whether people want to admit that or not. I don't know how we've led on to this, but fuck me, we're talking about the COVID season, and now it's like, actually, whoever it was that created that unbeaten season for them, though, they're all being flogged or allowed to leave, it looks, out the back door, without real an expenditure on replacing them being seen as of yet.
I suppose a year ago, John Dal Thomason did try and forewarn us. The clever guys, they need the money. And I think there's a bit of foreshadowing right there. A year ago, he was trying to tell us then and there. But yeah, I've said this before on the show. It's another day, another dollar, another drama at Ibrox. There's always something going on behind the scenes there. And yeah, lo and behold, I was very similar line of thinking to yourself and Mark about, well, if they qualify, they'll just do what they do best and recklessly spend. But something's obviously up there. But hey, if it benefits us, then so be it. So be it, man.
Well, that's it. I mean, right now, Celtic's in this incredible, buying league titles, apparently, even though their net spend on a whole brand new squad is around £6 million, Phil. That's realistic, spending. That's half what Tory Andrew Flo cost. You know what I mean? And that's like Angie's net spend to bring in, a whole new, a pool of 15, 16 last year. Obviously, a few more added to the ranks this year. His net spend is a joke, and that is why very much chairmen are aware of him, and whether he makes a Brighton shortlist and whether anyone wants to regard that as some sort of badge of honour, what we can be, very much in unison on is he's definitely getting whispered about. There is no two ways, and that'll be not because he's bought an SPFL title, because that doesn't give you any gravitas at all. Ask, Walter Smith, who joined the bankrupt Everton, ask, a Neil Lennon who could, without a Rangers there, was buying the titles, if you like, because his spend was so great and so vast compared with, again, a St Johnstone and Aberdeen, whoever you care to mention, that he joined a bankrupt Bolton down south. But Angie's achievements are very much being looked at with, hold on a minute, that was a whole squad revamp, whilst selling 3 key players under his watch, Christie, Ayer, Edward, and yet he used that money plus an extra 6 million, which is fuck all. And then obviously since then, by qualifying for the Champions League, the money he's generated with this team is actually putting Celtic on a very, very, not even keel, but I would say on the plus in terms of, what this Ange era spend is. I think they've actually generated more cash than what they've spent, which is quite mental when you put it like that, Philly.
Aye, it is, man. And I just twigged something, by the way. I think the reason John Dal Thompson came back at my head is because he's staring me in the face right now on Scott Howe's comment, because there he is, his big smiling avatar. It's like subliminal messaging. It's like you're talking about that, and I just came back at my head because I'm looking right at him. He's right there on the screen. As I think Scott Howe said in the comments, big JDT. But he was definitely it's been incredible what Ange has done with the money he's earned, what he's brought in for the club, and that the trajectory we're on right now is very much the opposite to what it seems to be the financial trajectory going on across the city. So hopefully we can capitalise on that. But we're not sitting here talking again about we didn't push the boat out. So, but didn't strengthen for the position of strength. But yeah, going by the way the summer went, and obviously just a minor blip before the international break, I'll put it down to, then it's I think we'll be okay in that one. Definitely. I'm just seeing that Scott Howe again, just saying cheers you up that wee face. Aye, it does to be fair. Aye.
Well, I don't think he was wrong. And I think, people in football, Phil, I've always said they talk. These boardroom guys, they all talk. There's reasons why, we were talking about it the other week, why Joe Aribo was £1 million less with a year left in his deal to the same club that paid £1 million more for Stuart Armstrong 5 years ago. And we know what pace and what rate the inflation is like in the EPL and what their expenditure is like. That was Aribo was bought for $6 million in the EPL's highest ever summer splurge.
Wow!
Same EPL team. Same EPL team for a guy who'd actually scored in a Europa League final. Stuart Armstrong was a 25 starts, 20 sub-appearances sort of player at Celtic. Southampton paid $7 million for him. So these are just little wee optics, Phil, I look at and I go, there is undeniably a bit of downsizing going on across the city, and hopefully Hearts will ram that home. What other games have we got in this?
Well, the last 2 games before we go on to the Celtic one are ones that don't really sound too appealing, so we'll quickly skim through. That's probably why we were dragging it out there, talking about other things, because the other 2 are Ross County v Hibs.
Was that content filler? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, but look at the 2 games, Russell. Ross County v Hibs and bloody St Mirren v Livingston. I mean, oh, God almighty, that's not exactly appealing. Although Ross County, last season they had that, very strong finish season getting into the top 6, which kind of a run that came out of nowhere. Hibs this season, they've been a bit of a definitely up and down, which I don't think surprises too many people because many of us have written off that Lee Johnson right from the start. He probably got more wins on the board than I thought he would have by this stage, but I'm just going by his general demeanour. He seems to be quite opinionated. I've noticed after games when it doesn't go his way, which I'm all for managers speaking out, but there has to be like a line, and when you do it too much, the press are when the press start turning against you and stuff like that, it's a hard one to get back. But yeah, they've got a trip up to Dingwall at the weekend. Can Hibs get another victory on the board with Ross County? Will they get the one? Malcolm Mackay, is he going to get that magic again for a second season in a row?
Well, I think that was the problem. I think for Malcolm Mackay in particular, obviously credit in the bank for him as a person was extremely low. Yeah. And I think the humility he was always going to have to show was take a step out the limelight for the best part of a decade as a manager. And even then, knowing that his managerial future, Phil, would have to enter into dressing rooms that probably resemble stables more than dressing rooms, and far removed from the bling and the glam of the English Premier League or the top reaches of the English Championship, which is, to be fair to him, where he fucking operated and did pretty well. Watford, Cardiff City. what he did the last year was, of course, upset the apple cart with that by taking unfashionable Ross County and making them half-decent team on the eye, getting them a top 6 finish. I think Malcolm Mackay's best opportunity would have been, and I'm sure he was acutely aware of, was getting a move this summer. Because to repeat the trick at Ross County probably would be harder than actually doing it first time round. What we need to remember with a lot of these SPFL clubs are, Phil, they don't sit with us, that all right, the era's begun of Malcolm Mackay, and he's going to keep hold of 10 out of the 11 first team. These guys need to almost flip teams, mate, year on year. So if you're repeating that at Ross County, mate, fucking hell, that's pretty tricky considering his wage budget and the restrictions that comes with that. However, all that being said, I do think he is still a canny manager. I think he's a better manager than the guy across from him. I think Lee Johnson was a very, very lucky boy to get that job, particularly as an ex-Hearts player as well. I think that's never going to give him longevity in that role if he starts irking people's sort of opinion of him. I think he started doing that as well. He started doing that already. I think he's definitely got a bit of aloofness about him, and sometimes I don't mind that. I think you need to get, you need to earn your stripes before, Phil, you start being a smart ass, and I think he's getting that the wrong way around. I think that's what English Championship money can do to people, though, Phil. Whether it be on the field or off the field, there is this sort of sense of I don't know, fucking being something you're not almost, and I think that he's maybe shown signs of that. Yes, they've won the last 2 games. I actually think they'll drop points, if they want to call it drop points. Maybe Ross County will see it as dropping points. I think it'll be a draw, 1-1.
A 1-1 draw. I was probably leaning towards a draw as well. I also think another factor for Ross County this season is they're going to miss Regan Charles Cook so much, because that's also part of it. And Mark Mackay has done well, but sometimes you also need that one guy in the team that just sparks the team into life. A Maverick. And Regan Charles Cook was definitely that for them last season. Obviously, he left when he played in Belgium, I do believe. But that's going to be hard to replace for a team like Ross County. To find another gem like that under everybody else's noses was it was incredible. So they're going to miss that this season. So you go back as well to the Liam Boyce thing we've talked about before, where he was a top scorer, sold him for a pittance essentially, but that's another story in terms of the way Scottish football undersells itself. But Regan Charles Cook's a big miss for them. I do think we're going to see another turgid game. In fact, there's going to be a few turgid games this weekend by the looks of it, but I think this is another one that's going to be a bit stinky, essentially. I could see it maybe being like a 0-0 or a 1-1, just a low-scoring draw. Nothing too exciting going on there.
No, I don't think, again, this will be one that they'll be putting on the next portfolio if Sky decides, mid-contract to randomly want to stick another 20% in the pot. But yeah, I mean, for all that said, I think it's a tricky place to go, Dingwall. And I think a draw. And maybe both teams, Malcolm Mackay with probably more of a degree of wisdom in management, seeing it as 2 drop points, and perhaps Lee Johnson with a wee bit sense of entitlement, seeing it as 2 drop points as well. But 1-1 I'm going for. What be your draw?
I went for a 0-0 or a 1-1. I'm decided. I'll flip a coin later. But low scoring draw. Nothing too exciting. The last game on Sports Scene, essentially. The one that nobody's really that bothered about. And of course, the final game is everyone's favourites right now in the SPL apart from ours. Everyone's loving them because they beat us. St Mirren, they're at home again. They'll be playing Livingston, who, as many people just think, they're just a one-trick pony, but they've won a few games on the road so far this season. Livingston, unfortunately, they look like they're going to be sticking around again. I can't see them getting relegated. I keep having hope every season that the plastic pitch teams will just get relegated. But the way they've started again, they've got a few points on the board. They'll probably
4th in the form table, Phil.
Aye.
4 wins for the last 6.
Okay, where are they in the current league table, though?
Form. Shit.
Because St Mirren are 3rd, I believe. St Mirren are up to 3rd after beating us, which again stuck up on many people. Like, oh my God, St Mirren, where did you come from? You look at the league table, but aye.
But the thing is, undeniably, like in front of your eyes, whether people want to laugh at this, Stephen Martindale is a fucking good manager at this level.
Very, very well, yes.
He's proved it, mate. I mean, there's no getting away from it. There's no point in dressing up. Yeah, Livingston are sitting cushy in 5th with a minus goal difference.
Oh, wow.
The only team in the top 6 with a minus goal difference is Livy. Again, though, Phil, I think you look at these games and you go, where's the goals in that? I know St Mirren obviously on the high are beating us, but very often you find these teams don't compound these results, mate. And I think nil.
I'm going to lean to Livingston, go there and get a sneaky wee victory. There you go. I'm going to say Livy will sneak away like a 1. Well, it's not going to be like a 2-3-0 or anything. A sneaky 1-0 or something. I'll go for a Livingston away win. Goes to throw at least one away win in there on my predictions every week. So I'm going home in on St Mirren Livy. I agree with you with these teams. Sometimes they get a big result against one of the big two, and then they don't follow up on it. You know, you look back to a few seasons ago when it was Ronnie Dyler in charge, and we had a few stumbling games. We had Aberdeen as our main sort of competition, and they beat us in a few games, but never ever really pushed on. And I think that was one that they looked at and were like, "Oh man, that was the one that got away essentially." Because teams like St Mirren again, they get that win. Can they push on after it? And again, I think Russell's also frozen as well. But I'll just keep on talking on that one. But yeah, I'm gonna just go for Livy to go there and get a wee sneaky victory. So they've already won away a couple of times this season, but I know they won at Dundee United early in the season. Dundee United are losing to everybody, it seems, at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to go with that one, Bhoycie. So I don't know how much you heard because you froze again, but yeah, I'm going to go for a wee sneaky Livy win, mate.
Oh, a sneaky Livy. I don't mind that. Yeah, I can see me losing my temper later. It's been fine all day. I work from home, and funnily enough, the Wi-Fi never bothers when I'm working from home, Phil. You know what I mean? Right, 0-0 at Paisley and Pato. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do agree with that.
Yeah,
I do agree with that. Where do you want to go next, mate?
Now, before we do the Celtic one, just a wee quick segue about something else that's going on within the bigger prism of the SPFL, because I thought this was a really good story. And obviously this week we've had a lot of, in the last a few weeks since the news first broke about the TV deal being on the table, and now obviously it's been signed. Sure. A lot of people talking about Scottish football underselling itself and so on, and teams that don't really push the ball. But earlier on, we just spoke about Dundee United managerial appointment. If St Johnstone were to sack the manager, teams that don't show the ambition. But I was stunned because, again, I'm really bad for this. And I've admitted this on the show before. I was on with Vegan last season, and we were talking about Ross County, and they're like, I'm terrible. I just pay attention to where Celtic are in the league and where our nearest rivals Rangers are. Anything else outside of that bubble, I tend not to pay attention. So, like last season, Ross County being where they were, I was like, shit, where did they come from? But a couple of weeks ago, I was coming back from IKEA and I was listening to the radio. Sports Sound was on, and Chick Young or somebody was reporting from the Queen's Park game, and he said something about, with this result, Queen's Park are up to 3rd in the championship, and I was like, what? I had to do like a double take. I knew about they'd went professional, and I knew about like Leanne Dempster and stuff coming in, but I didn't realise that they have essentially 3 promotions in 3 years, and currently are 3rd. Now, you and me had a good chat about it, and you were telling me some astounding things. I didn't know, like they took a director of football from AZ Alkmaar, directly from AZ Alkmaar, when they were in League One.
They did. It was me who was telling you that, wasn't it? I was thinking.
Yeah.
I thought it's very rare, ladies and gentlemen, when you speak to the Oracle about fucking anything, let's be honest. He fucking doesn't know. He's like, what? And I was like, I'm telling you, man. Like when they were in League One, Queen's Park went straight to AZ Alkmaar and took like their sporting director and made him their director of football. I do think there was a slight promotion in his role,
right? Okay,
from AZ, but even still, he was apparently highly as fuck rated as well. So, there was a bit of clout there. I also think for all it, what's emerged obviously since the open goal era began, Phil, was you start to get to know these characters in football and folk who you thought were maybe the new Brian Clough or whatever. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. The likes of Owen Coyle, who they fucking did all right, even down south. He did well at St Johnstone. He went to Burnley. He went to Bolton, and he's got a bit of a reputation. And then it turns out, when in the open goal era of podcasts, you find out this guy's bonkers, and he's signing folk for £4 or £5 million for Burnley. and basically challenged them to a game of head tennis and drinking cans iron brew as the actual meeting, and then going, do you want to sign or not? Which is amazing. I love that. I actually think it's missing. But what you cannot deny is all these amazing stories aside, he's worked day to day in the Premier League competition in European football, or one of. You know. And that is, at the end of the day, top end stuff. This is, this is mixing it with football royalty at times, and having to come up with game plans and strategies to beat them. And I know it's easy to go, oh, he didn't really work on shape. He just wanted us to be happy and go out and play. There's an element of that being maybe 90% true to an extent, and then there's got to be at times he's got to make serious decisions during the 90 minutes as well. Phil, how does he combat this? Then put him into a level like League One. He gains promotion in Scotland. He's now in the Championship, and again, with no disrespect to the other managers in there, Owen Coyle is undeniably managed at a higher level. The director of football was undeniably a guy coming from the Eredivisie, as I know you like me, shameful, with my big Adam's apple. And he's given AZ Alkmaar, no mugs whatsoever. Again, operated at a far higher level than any other sporting director that will be in the Scottish Championship. And with the level of investment, obviously, that goes hand in hand with that. Otherwise, you don't get AZ sporting directors. Let's be completely honest here. Queen's Park are playing a kind of different sport from a lot of the rivals in that league. And that's not because the rest are all fucking part-time. That's because the level of spending as a full-time club still has a very, very, very short ceiling in Scottish football. We accept that, by the way. But now we're seeing more ambition from non-league sides. We're seeing Open Goal Broomhill played in front of 1,600 people 2 weeks ago. I don't know what their attendance was for Friday. I don't think they've sung it for the rooftops as much. So I'll need to be honest and say I'm guessing it wasn't maybe as high. But the week before, 1,560 odd it was, attended a Friday night football game for a non-league team. I just think that's fucking unbelievable. Kurt Broadfoot has left Inverness Cali Thistle to sign for them for free now. I know he's a diddy, right? But at the end of the day, he's left upper championship, playoff championship final to join Open Goal FC. You've then got examples like Celtic Hearts right now, not maybe having the most compelling season, Monty, in League One, but what they have done is, once they got promoted, one instant promotion to League One. We then take a look at the Championship, and yes, okay, again, sitting ninth and in the relegation place is Cove Rangers. Cove Rangers, who lost a manager to Hartlepool, and that's maybe took that off the tracks a wee bit. But what we've also got to admire is that's 2 promotions for them in the last 2 years or 3 years. So Celtic, Cove Rangers, Open Goal, Broomhill FC, all seem to be clubs with real ambition, real drive to spend money. Queen's Park, though, seems to have somehow went almost under the radar, Phil.
Totally.
Yeah, they're spending far, far more.
See, obviously you would... No, the reason I like to bring that up again, just because in relation to recent stories about Scottish football underselling stuff, you love to see stories like this. Obviously, a comparison that people might draw in recent years, and you don't want to see this happen to them, is obviously Gretna. But some of the stories you've heard about how Gretna were run, it was badly mismanaged. And then in England, there was Rushden and Diamonds as well, who had like 3 years of, then suddenly they were gone. They were a flash in the pan overnight and they were away. So it's good to see a team lower down really speculating to accumulate. Is quite a good. Plus, see, for people like you and I, Russell, who are from the champ manager, football manager generation, one of the dreams is to take a team for the very bottom to the top. And you see that happen in real life, and you're like, oh, that'd be a good champ manager save right there, a football manager save. Okay, yes, man.
I think as well that what we need to remember is, as much as the Queen's Park's expenditure may look fucking hell, also their chief exec is that Leanne Dempster who used to be at Hibs. She's involved as well. So it's like her who's appointed this guy as director of football from AZ Alkmaar. She's appointed Owen Coyle. But a lot of their funds have been generated, obviously, by the fact they went full-time professional on the back of selling Hampden for £6 million to the SFA.
Yes, they did indeed.
It's a real source of funds. A real source of funds. I think it's an interesting story. Queen's Park have won the Scottish Cup the third highest amount of times.
Yes, they have indeed.
Celtic, Rangers, Queen's Park. I think it's very interesting to see what sort of potential they've got. Could there be a third force in Glasgow? Are they going to make a real fist of it? it remains to be seen, but keep an eye on them, Phil. Sitting
Yeah,
third
well,
in that championship.
I think Partick Thistle are top and they're in the playoffs. Because you imagine Thistle and Queen's Park got promoted in the same season as well.
Huge.
Just
Huge.
that would be. But it's something that just crept up on me, and I was like, that's worth speaking about, especially with the whole idea of Scottish football underselling itself. Well, there's a team in the division below us, that are making some serious waves. So that AZ Alkmaar thing blew me away. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I know. And see, when I told you, I was like, he's at it. He must have known that. And then it turns out you fucking didn't.
No,
But
I did not, mate. No.
I mean, I just think with stuff like that, you've got to go, well, that's fucking quite. It's not just that, it's the fact that that's quite like you've thought about this. Where's that came from? Where, like, how have you don't just pin the tail on a donkey and come up with the AZ Alkmaar sporting director to become your director of football, Phil. There's a method. Oh, fuck off, boys.
Methodology
behind this that obviously means that he's been identified as maybe the top of their top list, and they've went all out and they managed to get him. Fair play. Now Ryan Taylor's in the wee stadium at Lesser Hampden coming along. There you go. But I think that's a story that will definitely get more gravitas as this season goes on. Now we all know what happened with Arbroath last year. They're now rooted to the bottom of the league. Part-time team. I think it would have been a fucking shit show if they'd came up. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. It would have just been, this is beyond them. Beyond their means. It's actually going to harm them financially, as opposed to, this isn't a league that you come into and you're then going to get like 90 million parachute payments from once you go back down. They'll actually need to way overspend to go full time. They won't make the revenue that's needed to make that sustainable, and they'll get then booted back down. And they would have probably been successive relegation sort of thing. Monty, I can see that comment. Get that fucking deleted, mate. I'm no fucking poet, man. Do you know what I mean? That's plenty of that patter.
Although this one with Pat O is actually quite good. Phil and Bhoycie switching wings like Ajax slingers in the 70s. Because now I said Red Scotland said earlier on that we're now sitting at the perfect camera angles because we're facing each other.
I know. I should just be like this. I probably should just be like this. What was I going to say? But you could say it's like Kyoko and Jota switching wings. I did that for Ryan in the comments. I'll just say it one more time. Eredivisie. But keep your eye on Queen's Park as they go up the Scottish Championship with the Adams Apples. But I think they're a story that is well worth keeping an eye on.
Definitely. Well, that leads us on nicely then. I just wanted to throw that in there because I thought it was a very good story. It's worthwhile covering. But obviously, Celtic Motherwell is the last game that we're going to look at. This is the one that we need to bounce back on. And I think earlier on we alluded to it, but I'm pretty confident that mistakes will obviously happen, that we've learned from them. And I can only see us bouncing back very strong on Saturday and getting a comprehensive victory. I can't see much else going. Famous last words, hopefully not, but I can't see much going wrong on Saturday. I think it's a pretty comfortable victory for us in the end.
No, I totally agree. I think it's just it's the perfect fixture for us to be able to refocus on as well. That's what I wanted. I just wanted Celtic to have a fixture where they looked at it and went, do you know what? We're not going to fuck about in this one either. Let's set the tone. Let's not have a potential banana skin. Because then what could potentially happen is, of course, on the back of a defeat, loss of confidence, increased pressure, etc., would be, say it was us going to Tynecastle and them at home to Motherwell, right? And we're the early kickoff. And we just got, let's be honest, we put in an abject display, probably our worst display in a year domestically. You go into that game and you play your first team and then you still get a negative result. Before you know it now, we're not looking at the supposed strength and depth. We're now looking at the first team and going, Celtic falling off the rails and all these narratives that can come. Give me Motherwell at home. No disrespect to them. Let's just fucking play our first team, the best players we possibly can that are available, and let's get that 10 goals. Okay, we're not going to do that. Let's get a dominant win and get us back up to that confidence peaking again where we were before the St Mirren game, and that'll do me nicely as we enter this wee mini section before the World Cup.
Yes, indeed. Now, some people in the chat will know why I'll use this expression, but let's address the elephant in the room. Obviously, a lot of headlines, injuries coming out of this international break. Do we know what the current status is and who is available and who isn't? Because the other day, I think somebody in the WhatsApp group chat said there's 7 first-team players out. And I was like, 7? Jesus Christ. But there's talk that Giacomakis isn't as bad as what was first.
Regan said today he thinks he does miss it.
does miss it now. See, so it's flip-flop. So I don't think we'll even know up to Saturday. One of those things going to the ground, you'll start to hear stories coming through, or this guy is in the squad, this guy isn't. But I seen James Forrest's name obviously getting branded around that he might need to might need to play because obviously just the injury situation. Somebody said something about Abada took a knock as well for Israel. Yeah, so Maeda went off for Japan, but apparently didn't get sent home initially. So there's thought that was all okay. But
he's jogging home, mate.
He's jogging home, mate. Aye, he is, mate. Aye, he's almost here. But aye, it's like, God, these international fixtures, they're racking up the injuries for us. And obviously I saw Mark saying on Twitter the day again about we should have invested in a third striker because this is us in that position now where if Giakoumakis is injured and if Kyogo picks up a knock, and it's like, oh, Jesus. So, yeah, if anybody in the chat knows exactly who is injured, then aye, it would be handy to know.
I mean, either way, I think the up front position could have been, I think there was an obvious target. I think it was a marketing genius move. I think it was one that really enhanced that position. I think it was one that gave us, firstly, real necessary competition. If Kyogo wants to be going off with a shoulder injury, no problem. We've got two, bona fide players to choose from. Kyogo maybe doesn't get the start the next time. Instead, you hear about the Giakoumakis knock, and let's be fucking honest, Phil. You shit it because you're like, oh my God, I hope Kyogo's all right now. If Giakoumakis is out, all we've got is Kyogo. And you start thinking, this is ludicrous.
Yep.
But what it does also take you into the territory of is, well, of course, Ange isn't naive enough to only start a season with just two strikers. That means it's another he thinks is his third choice striker. We have to go on the basis it's going to be Days and Maeda.
Yep.
That he's thinking of. That is, to me, a bit of a concern. I am not in the camp that he can't kick a ball, he can't play football. I think he was very effective in our second half of last season. I've got to be honest. I thought he did very well. I thought he was a crucial, in fact, part of what we did post the winter shutdown. However, all that being said, do I think that is someone I would be hanging my hat on to be Celtic's number 9 if Kyogo were to go off after 5 minutes again this weekend at home to Motherwell because of some knuckle dragger, leaving a shoulder and elbow in on him.
Aye.
I wouldn't be overly confident, Phil, particularly if it was to be for a spell of games. This is the reality. We've got 13 fixtures right now before the World Cup. We've no idea how long Giakoumakis is out for. It might just be one game, but then you are now hanging your hat completely on Kyogo. Obviously, in Ange's mind, that's not the case. There is another option. We don't necessarily need to agree with everything that he thinks or says or does. And I think from my point of view personally, the third choice has to then be from within the current squad. I'm guessing that means it's Maeda. For me, that's the source of concern.
I agree. I don't think it's you're not being negative or anything, or all these things that get thrown at you if you criticise something. But so far, in terms of in front of goal, Maeda hasn't given me much to be confident about. I know he was the top goal scorer in the J League when we signed him, and Ange actually wanted him before he got Kyogo. That was his priority signing. So evidently, he has got some sort of goal scoring touch, but there has been quite I think it's composure that he's lacking at times. I think that is the issue here. And Kyogo can be a wee bit guilty of that sometimes when he throws himself at something, It's like just a wee bit of calm, just think about it before you just spring into action. I think Maeda's guilty of the same thing, where although probably his is a bit more extreme than Kyogo's, but yeah, just a wee bit more composure sometimes in front of goal is needed. There was obviously the Real Madrid
it's
game.
It's not as natural either, Phil, is it?
Yeah, that's true. He does look a bit awkward at times, but yeah, the Real Madrid one obviously stands out a couple of weeks ago, just after half time. Ball comes across, and man, as they talk about how goals change games, that one goes in, puts us 1-0 up, and who knows what could have happened then. But it's no coincidence that a few minutes after that, Real Madrid seemed to suddenly click into gear and went, right, no more fucking about here. And their first goal was literally 5 passes out of defence, started with Courtois. Did he skin Maeda? Somebody tried to tackle Courtois. He basically skinned him, and it was like 5 passes up the park, goal. It was like that sort of miss sort of prompted them into action. So, yeah, but some of the chances that he's had. But then, you see like the Ross County Cup game early in the season where he just was in the right place at the right time when we needed a goal when Ross County had just got it back. So there is something there. But just try to harness that. There definitely is. There's got to be some way to get the best out of him in that position through the middle. Because he's obviously scored a lot of goals in Japan before he joined us. So you've got to trust that there's something within that guy. We just need to find a way to unlock it.
Yeah, he's not Jordan Larson on a free though, is he?
Oh,
you know, and I think that'll always come back and just fuck me off because I'm like, we've just posted £30 million in the bank, but that was a worthwhile question to be asked. I disagree. We will look more in depth at the Celtic game though tomorrow night on the TNFL.
Yes, indeed.
We are looking forward to doing that. Have you got any sort of predictions though for a scoreline you want to chuck at me?
I usually always put a safe 3-0 with Celtic, 3 or 4-0 I normally do, so I'll probably put one or the other, and it'll probably be like a 9-0 or something again like that. Remember that week when the two corners put 8-0 and 7-0 against Dundee United, and it was 9-0. Incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually put a 3 or a 4-0 on it, so I'll probably put one of them. But I see a pretty comfortable victory in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what I've done is I have put my scores into a wee £1 bet. Obviously, gamble responsibly, but we do call this bashing the bookies. More realistically, rather than getting 6 correct scores, and let's be honest, that's very, very difficult. I will give you my six predictions. The Bhoycie Bus's 6 predictions. I think undeniably, the just going for which team it wins a lot easier. But I have went Hearts to beat Rangers. I think they will do it. I know I don't think it's as big a deal really as even I don't think it could be that big a surprise. If for added to that, I have went 2-1. St Mirren against Livingston, I've went for a 0-0 draw. So you could just put it as a draw if you want to go more cagey. Celtic Motherwell, I've went 4-0 Phil. 4-0 Celtic back to form. And a Celtic win, obviously that means. Aberdeen to win, I've went for a convincing one for them, 3-0. Ross County, a draw. 1-1. Dundee United to win 1-0 at home to St Johnstone. Now, what does that all mean? Well, it means if you just went for the teams, right? If we just went for the teams, where's my bets? There we go. If you just go for the teams, then you would get for £1. I think I did £1.10 just so it was over the 200 mark. But effectively, it's about 200 to 1 for the teams. So for the or draws that you decide to pick. Gary Brown says he can see a few draws. Well, yeah, I've picked 2 draws out of the 6. If you want to go for the scores that I've just said there, then I'm sure you can try. That's getting me £497,000, 488 and 68 pence. So that for £1. So the chances of Bhoycie's scoreline predictions coming in isn't really worth filing a lawsuit against me if you've been watching this. Yes, we are going to definitely accept that it's very unlikely. But yeah, have a bit of fun. Let us know how you get on. If everyone is, if anyone is sticking a wee 10p bet on, let us know if it comes in. We'll be very intrigued to find out.
Yes, indeed. Maybe I'll gamble responsibly, folks. But
10p's, 10p's, mate. 10p's. That's so. Yeah, we're definitely covering ourselves with that pattern, mate.
Indeed.
I don't know what's going on tonight because this the second person saying we look great. I mean, there's Scott out. I don't know if he's watching on a delay or something. He's saying you look great, lads. Thank you
Thank you very much,
mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Anyway, brilliant to have so many folk on the bus.
Aye.
It has been a dull couple of weeks without the joys of Celtic, but we are closing in on that league campaign being back up and running, and it recommences this weekend. But don't worry, the bus has loads to offer still.
Yes.
We've got the TNF coming tomorrow night, the night where we give the keys to the viewers, and we're going to discuss all your talking points, whilst also having a more focused look at Celtic's fixture with Motherwell. Phil McGinley, Bustalgia, talk to me.
It is. Brown Warrior, put your fingers in your ears, mate. Because I'm going to mention him. Sound the klaxon. Brendan Rodgers.
Know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is Brendan Rodgers' second season, the double treble, making history because
it's not a sash.
It's Jamaica flag, isn't it?
Half the Jamaica flag. See, they thought it was a sash, as if I would be wearing a sash. So see, you can see the green in there. It's pretty goddamn cool, to be honest with you.
I've been accused of wearing a Partick Thistle top, a Motherwell top, a St Mirren top.
You are.
But yeah, it's Brendan Rodgers on the agenda again on Friday night. It is the second season, so it's history making because it's double treble, which nobody in Scottish football had achieved at that point. Rangers came very close in '94, but then Craig Brewster thwarted that in the Scottish Cup final. But yeah, we will be talking about that one. Obviously, the 69 game unbeaten run the trio of games we played the Rangers at the end of the season, the 3-2 at Ibrox is legendary, followed by the double whammy of the 4-0 in the Cup and then the 5-0 in the league. We'll be talking about that, obviously, Europe that season. PSG kind of pulled our pants down and scalped us pretty hard that season. And then obviously talk about actually wrapping up the double treble. And that'll be on the agenda. So I'm looking forward to that because I've got very fond memories of that season. Very fond.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's when it became like processions against them as well, a wee bit, I think. He was very much in control of everything that he was doing at that point. You know, not just the football club. He just had Scottish football sussed at that point, didn't he?
He did. That was it. It was just that formality then.
Champions League, is that when we beat Anderlecht 3-0 away?
Anderlecht 3-0 away, yep. I looked at the Champions League group table from that season, and Celtic finished on minus 15 goals, and Anderlecht finished on minus 13 goals. And it was like PSG and Bayern both finished on 15 points. The only games they lost were against each other. But yeah, they had their goal difference was absurd. But Celtic and Anderlecht had minus 15 and minus 13 goals, and Celtic had 3 points. Anderlecht had none by the end. No, 3 as well because they beat us, but we won on record against, didn't we? So yeah, it was quite a lopsided group, but we did just enough to scrape through. And then Zenit St. Petersburg knocked us out in the Europa League. So got that to look forward to Friday night. So it should be fun.
No, that will be brilliant. And we will be doing some PMP on Saturday. And Phil, if you're happy to drive the bus on Sunday for the Blether, because I will be on my way to Glasgow to win a grudge match pool game.
Okay.
Scott, I'm getting up. I'll be in Glasgow for like 11 in the morning. So unfortunately, I'll not be able to do it. But Regan and Mark will both be back. Have they got another guest? I think Liam Colo's joining them. And of course, if you're driving the bus, Phil, I'm sure none of them will be bothered if it's a fatal 4-way. Of course, you can you can do it in your pants, mate, in the background. That's absolutely fine. That's how I'm normally just going to bring
Producer Phil.
I used to yell, fuck. See if he's just clicking buttons on the StreamYard and calling producer fucking Paul. That
unbelievable.
Like, it's embarrassing. Producer. Oh, stop it. If I can work this StreamYard app thing, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, producer. Fuck me. I didn't even know if he coined that term. I think it was probably someone that was sucking up his arse who coined that term, to be fair to him. Anyway, we will leave you with the dulcet tones of Chris Sutton. You know, he's an embarrassment.
See you guys. It's been fun tonight.
See you later.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.